going to carry on with part two. I'm gonna try and make this not as long as the first video. But fine. After they get called to the office, then okay, Yoongi and Harper are together, and then Yoongi's parents, before they actually started dating, Yoongi went home for Christmas to his parents, right? And he invited Harper to come with. Obviously, she was very reluctant, and she was like, "No, it's family time." And he was like, "Well, I want you there." And then they met her. The parents fell in love with her. They fell in love with Onyx, and they even put a bet on how long it would take for the two of them to, start dating and everything, which is really cute. And then okay, they started dating, and then the parents started. They came. I don't remember exactly what they came from, but they ended up living there. And then Yoongi kind of basically lived in Harper's apartment, and then his parents were living in his apartment, and his parents were in the process of selling their house, which was 2 hours away from there, and finding a house nearby because now that's where their family is. So when they saw that they were dating, and they even saw Harper wearing the necklace, because that is like a family heirloom, and his parents gave it to him to give to his wife. They planned on giving it to their daughter, but they only ended up having Yoongi, as he's an only child. So they were like, "Okay, you'll give this to your wife," and then so on and so forth. So when they saw Harper wearing it, they were like, "Oh, he's basically proposed. So we've got a daughter-in-law and a grandson. How nice is that?" Um, and then at some point, Yoongi got a promotion, and they did like a little party for him at the hospital, and he came with Harper, and that's how the rest of the hospital knew that they were together. He had Harper as his date. She was looking real classy. She was looking like a queen, darling. And everybody saw her there. Kyra was salty, but we don't care about her. And then everybody else was like everybody would be automatically assuming that that's his wife. They'd be like, "So Yoongi, how's the wife doing?" Oh, they were like, "Yoongi, you have a beautiful wife." And he was like, "I know, right? I'm a very lucky man." Like everybody just assumed that that was the wife. Everybody assumed that that was the wife, and he just rolled with it because he liked it. The same way he didn't correct people if they were to assume that he's Onyx's biological father. Cool. And then at some point, it got to a point where they got into like I wouldn't say it was an argument, but in the entire book, I would say that that is their biggest argument, I guess. Where Harper was really feeling conflicted, like she's an overthinker. So she was just letting the bad side of her thoughts consume her to a point where she was just like, "But this is so much baggage. You are dating me, but now you've got to deal with the baggage of my son." And he's not an easy child to maintain. Like he's got a lot of issues with him. He gets ill very quickly, very easily, and you have to deal with shit like that, and I don't expect that from you. And he got so mad, but he was still so calm. Like that book is so Jungi. Like it makes sense that it was a Jungi fanfic, because I would imagine Jungi acting the same way that Jungi acts in that book. Like that man is the standard. Jungi from Healing Harper is the flippin' standard. That's why I'm like, everybody should read this book. That is how your man should treat you, or the masculine person in this relationship. That's how they should treat you. If you are accepting anything less than that, I will personally climb through the screen and beat your ass. Respectfully. Anyway. So, he was like, "I am Onyx's father. I don't care what you say. I don't care what anyone says. That's my child. I might not be his blood, but in every other definition of what a dad is, I am that to Onyx. And you will not take that away from me. That is my child. You're not going to take that away. That is my child. I earned being his father. You're not going to take that away from me." And I was like, South African men could never. But anywho, not to throw shade or anything, but I'm just saying. But anywho, and then I think that was the time when he gave her the necklace, and then he told her the importance and the significance of it. And she was like, "If it's that important, why are you putting it? Why are you giving it to me?" And he's like, "Because, woman, I'm basically telling you I want to marry you. God damn it." um, Cool. And then everything was great, everything was wonderful. And then the baby daddy comes back into the picture. Harper's baby daddy comes back into the picture. And this man is rolled into the hospital because he was involved in a drive-by shooting. Ne? Fine. Now it's urgent. It's a fast. Somebody needs to do this operation. Now the top two doctors, the top two surgeons in the hospital were Yungi and this other man called Dr. Han. I didn't like the motherfucker, but anyway. And Dr. Han, Jungi's like, okay, so they have like a little briefing before each surgery, right? So they're sitting there, and Jungi's like, I can't do the surgery. And they're like, why? And he's like, because it's a conflict of interest. That is Harper's baby daddy. I can't. Ngjola no Harper, and then Harper, baby daddy, I got shot, and I must do this. No, if anything legal was to happen, I'm a conflict of interest. So no. And Han didn't want to take it because it was an ego thing. It was like, oh, you're just throwing this on me because you feel like you're not good enough to do the surgery. So if you feel like it's something beneath you, you just want to throw it on me. Me. And I was like, oh my god, you're so immature. Ew, that's why your wife left you. But anyway. And then Yungi was ended up forced to do the surgery, and Harper was actually at work during that time, and Yungi's parents were looking after Onyx, and then she was called in, and this boy did not remove Harper as his proxy. So now she's called into the office, and she's like, "You're his proxy." And she's like, but he has a whole mother. Why me? And Kanako, the mother's busy harassing her, saying, you better sign that thing. You were out here. You didn't want to give me access to my grandchild. I know what you did to my son. The son obviously made himself look like the victim to his mother. And on top of that, he's a mama's boy. This mother will protect and believe whatever the son says. So she's like, you better, if my son dies, I'm going to sue you. So now Harper ends up signing the paper because she doesn't have a choice. And Yungi's like, don't worry, just sign the papers for now. And I will personally find a lawyer who will help us remove you from his proxy. Because the only other way is for him to remove her from the proxy, and he obviously doesn't want to do that. So she signs it. Yungi ends up doing the surgery because that's his job. He took a vow that it doesn't matter who is on that table. He needs to do his level best to save that person's life. Even if it's Hitler himself, he must save him because that's the vow and the oath he took. Fine, and then after Harper signed those papers, she's busy being harassed by the mother. So one of the directors ends up telling her, you know what, you can have the rest of the night off. I'm sure you're stressed. Just go see your son. And then she goes home. Cool. And then, okay, fine, Yungi does the surgery. And then the nurse ends up being that girl called Kyra. And she ends up spewing everything about Yungi and Harper to this boy's ears. And telling her, you know, you deserve to see your son. And the fact that Harper doesn't let you should not be okay. To a point where now he ends up serving Harper with papers because he wants custody of Onyx. Woo! I wish I could be as delusional as men sometimes. Honestly, where men get the audacity is beyond me. But anyway, he files for custody. Harper panics. She takes the papers to Yungi, obviously, because they basically live together now. And Yungi's like, why are you worried? He used to beat you. He hasn't tried to make contact, and you cut him off, as you should. He beat you while you were pregnant. He doesn't even know who Onyx is. So, he was literally involved in a drive-by shooting. You think they're gonna give him custody? Sweetie, don't you worry yourself. And they got a lawyer, and the lawyer was Yeonjun, my boy Yeonjun. He ended up being their lawyer, and he was like a new lawyer at the firm. They didn't want to give him anything at that firm. They were being really stingy. They didn't want to give him any serious cases, and then they saw like a family problem, and they just threw Yungi and Harper's case at him, not knowing that this will be the best thing that's ever gonna happen to Yeonjun. Oh, okay. Yeonjun ends up helping Harper and Yungi win the case, and obviously they win it because which dumb judge would give the baby to him? What the hell? The flip? No, bitch. The fuck? He's not even on the birth certificate. Yoongi ended up being on the birth certificate. Oh my god, it was so romantic. Oh my god. Anyway, so after that, Yoongi called Luca. Luca is Delilah's husband. Delilah is Yoongi's very, very close friend. So in their little friend circle, it's Yoongi, it's Taehyung, it's Haley, it's Delilah, and then now Harper, right? And Haley and Taehyung are together. Yoongi and Harper are obviously together, and then Delilah's with Luca. Luca doesn't work at the hospital. Luca owns a restaurant, and from the name you can hear he's Italian. So Yoongi ends up calling Luca and telling him about everything that's been happening. And Luca's dad was there at that time, and Luca's dad has a firm, so he ended up taking Yeonjun, and he's got like one of the best firms ever. And he took Yeonjun. Yeonjun left that dusty ass law firm, and they regretted it, which is whose fault is that? Anyway, that's that. And then Onyx would get spoiled because now he's got a rich uncle, which is Luca. He's got a rich aunt, which is Delilah and Haley. And Haley, Liana, she's got like her own mini story in there. Haley is a transgender woman. She was born a man and she transitioned into a woman. And Taehyung fell in love with her, and he was supporting her through everything. And even though she's a pediatric nurse, she doesn't want kids. No, 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 no. Um, like her dad is trash in the book. Like, ugh, her side of the story is messy. But Taehyung is proper. Yeah, but Taehyung and Yoongi are the standard. I must stick beside that till the day I die. This book was so good. I recommended it to my mother. Until today, she can't stop talking about it because it's just that amazing. Everyone should read it. I don't care if you're married. Even when you're married, you need to read that book, and after reading it, you must look at your spouse and be like, I made the right decision. Do you hear me? If you look at your spouse and you sigh after reading this book, improvements need to be made, sweetie. Tell them to read the book. Every man, woman, he, she, they, them should read this book. Point blank, period. I don't care who you are, where you're from. Read it. So, I'm trying to see. Oh, and then there was one. Oh, this part pisses me off. There was one time when Yoongi's dad went out with Harper to the grocery store, and then some man walked in who's not even blind with a guard dog, and the dog ended up attacking them, and then it bit Onyx's calf. And obviously, Yoongi's dad rushed to the hospital, and he called Yoongi on his way there, and he was like, "Yoongi, come outside." And Yoongi's like, "What? Why? Come outside where?" He's like, "Come outside to the hospital. There was an altercation at the superstore, and Onyx got bit by a dog, so I need you to come get the baby while I go deal with the police at the supermarket." And Yoongi's like, "Oh my lord!" He was about to go to a briefing for a surgery, and in the hallway he sees Dr. Han, the other doctor, and he just throws his files at him, and he's like, "You take care of this. My son is in danger." When I read that part, I was like, "Yes! Yes!" Oh man, no. Oh, that entire book is a green flag. And he's like, "My son is in danger." And then he goes and he fetches Onyx and he takes him to Taehyung. And Taehyung, no, Haley deals with Onyx. She takes Onyx. She's like, "This is my godson. Oh my god." Well, the godparents ended up being Luca and Delilah, actually. But still, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. She's also the godmother, the other godmother. It doesn't matter. And then she asks Harper, "Is he allergic to anything?" And she tells him, "Yeah, he's allergic to this other thing," which is like the main sedative that they use for kids. And he's like, "Is it a sedative or I don't remember, but it's some sort of chemical." And she was gonna use it to clean the wound, and she was like, "Oh, that's the main one that we use. Okay, so since that's one, I'm gonna have to go fetch another one. Stay here. Don't let another nurse touch Onyx. It must be me and me only." And Harper's like, "Okay, cool." And she's panicking now. She's panicking. and Yuni's trying to calm her down. And then Kyra, the little bitch, Kyra comes in with a tray with an ointment in a little cup thingy, beaker, whatever, and Q-tips. And he comes to and she comes to Onyx, takes the Q-tips, dips it in that thing, and is about to touch Onyx with it. Luckily, Yungi walks in, sees it, takes it, and throws it on the other side of the room. That is the very first time in the entire book where Yungi actually like burst. Like he was mad. Like this man was yelling. This man was shouting to a point where the entire hospital's never seen this man angry, and they were like, "What should we do?" I've never heard this man's voice that high. I've never heard this man yell. We've had scary things happen in this hospital, and this man has never yelled nor shouted or raised his voice even 2 octaves higher than what he speaks. So I don't know what to do, and he's been working here for years. And they heard him scream. This man was like, "Are you crazy? What are you doing? What are you doing?" And she's like, "I'm going to disinfect him." And she was like, "Are you insane? Did you not read what his file clipboard thing said? It said that he's allergic to what you were just about to give him. You are about to give an infant something that they are allergic to when they are in pain. That would have put him into epileptic shock and he would have died." Then what would you have said? "Oh, sorry, Askisi, I forgot to read." As a nurse. After that, on top of the information she was busy giving the baby daddy, she got her license revoked, as she fucking should, and she got fired. As she should. That was the very first time that Yumi went ballistic and people didn't know what to do. And the only person who could calm him down was Harper. And she was just holding his hand and she was like, "No, but at least you were here to find out." And then on top of that, she's also feeling like a horrible mother because she's like, if it wasn't for Yuki finding out and knowing that she was using something wrong, my son would have died in front of my eyes. And I would have had absolutely nothing to do. I would have not even known. And that is a scary thought. Yo, I can never be in a situation like that because trust and believe. I'm not just throwing hands, sweetie. I'm throwing my whole body. You're dying now. You gate to hell. I'm gonna call Lucifer and make sure that he's got a whole condo ready for you in hell, sweetie, because that's your first flight there. Not even ticket, private jet to hell. Just for you. And then she got her license revoked. Fine. And then Harper ended up going back to school. She wanted to be a pharmacist. Yungi had gotten her to sit down and write down her 5-year plan and everything. And he paid for the rest of her schooling. And she finished her degree. She reconciled with her family. He helped her with that as well. She reconciled with her family. They didn't blame her because they were like, "You were being abused. So we understand that your judgment was probably clouded." And yeah, and then they got married. He bought them a house with everything that she said she ever wanted in her dream house. He basically built their dream house. And yeah, and then towards the end of the story, I think she falls pregnant and they have a second child. Yes, she does fall pregnant and they have a second child. And now she's panicking on how to tell Onyx because during the book it was said that Onyx was diagnosed with autism, I believe. And autistic kids, you need to be extra fragile with them, So she was really like panicking on how to tell Onyx that a whole other human being is coming, but that doesn't mean that I'm not gonna love you anymore, you know? And they all become like one little family because it's Harper's family, Yungi's parents, and then it's them making their own family, and then it's their friends. Delilah and Luca also ended up having a baby because they ended up getting baby fever from Onyx. um, yeah, like the book is amazing. Yo, I think I'm gonna read it again. I am going to read it again. But yeah, that is that. I hope that you have a good day. And if you didn't, I hope that this made you feel better.